Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You've called it Expedition. Some people call it Clair Obscur. What's your verdict on that? It has to be Expedition. That's all you refer to it as?
I don't know. I call it that. Some people call it Clair Obscur. Some people call it Expedition 33. I developed this thing that I now, whenever I say the full title, I always say Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, which amuses me if nobody else.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ready Aim Fire podcast, where today I am joined by the incredibly charming Rich Keeble. Enjoy the show. Rich, really love to have you on this over. Can you please tell us about your first experience in performance and acting?
Well, I've got a bit of a weird route into it, I suppose, like many people have. I wanted to be in like studio sitcoms and sketch shows. Okay. Like when I was a kid in the 80s, I used to be very aware of like Blackadder and Bottom.
Yeah.
Fry and Laurie and French and Saunders and things like that. And I always really fancied that sort of thing. But I got distracted by sort of being pushed into having a real job and also thinking that maybe music would be my thing. So I didn't really start getting into acting until I was 30.
Okay.
When I was a failed musician and just, I don't know, a failed human being, I suppose. And I started off doing like live comedy and sketch stuff, and would make online sketches and things. So I sort of started a strange way. I kind of managed to get myself into some TV relatively early on. Then I got some commercials, and then I kind of then went into like games and audiobooks and other voiceover things. And I've kind of just been spreading myself thinly ever since.
Okay. Nice.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Okay.
I like to do a lot of things to a very mediocre standard.
I'm sure people wouldn't describe your talents as that. Is there any improv in your comedy work?
Oh yeah, I've done some improv. Yeah, I did do an improv course, which I did sort of quit. But I've done improv on stage and in various, I think in some TV shows and stuff, I've done some improv.
Why did you quit the improv course? Was that just to keep them guessing, keep them on their toes?
Exactly.
So they had to improvise on how to finish without you.
I think I just wasn't very good at it, I think like there's improv and improv. There's improv that you do when you're just kind of improvising dialogue, but then like proper improv where there's like rules, where you're up on stage doing an improv show. Yeah, like making those sort of decisions, and there are certain rules to stick to that I found a bit confusing. So if anything's hard, then I'll just give it up.
Did you quit on stage, or did you?
No, I did a course called Monkey Toast, which I think I'm assuming it's still going. I don't know, but it's quite renowned. I really enjoyed the first level and actually did learn some stuff that was quite genuinely useful, like yes-anding, or actually, bigging up people and not just going for an easy laugh. But in the second level, I found it a bit challenging, and I just I had to miss a few lessons, I think, for genuine reasons, and I just sort of never picked it back up.
So tell us about your musical career then. You play instruments?
I play the guitar, the drums, and the piano.
Wow.
And I learned the piano when I was quite young. I learned the drums when I was about 16, and then I got sort of duped into playing the double bass in the school orchestra. And the double bass is tuned the same way as a bass guitar, because like the violin and the cello aren't. And I sort of then played bass in a metal band when I was about 17, I think, and then learned the guitar from there. And then I thought that would be my thing. So I sang and played guitar in a band. I played drums in a couple of bands. I ended up auditioning to be the drummer in a band, but ended up being their keyboardist / backing vocalist / Bez-style dancer.
Nice.
Bez from the Happy Mondays there, if anyone is familiar. And at the end of that tour, I remember it just sort of, I don't know, I think I was 29 or 30 or something. I just thought, well, I've failed at that. Now I'll try and be an actor.
So you thought a musical career is like being in Logan's Run, that you have to do it before you're 30?
Yeah, pretty much. I was trying to be cool, I think, in my 20s, which is a terrible idea. But I was also working as an acoustic consultant at the same time.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't got time to get into all this, I don't think. But my 20s were a weird time. And then, I always thought that I would be a successful musician, and then I would become an actor, like John Bon Jovi did.
Briefly. Was it the one with Whoopi Goldberg, wasn't he?
I don't remember. I remember he was in an episode of Sex and the City.
Cool.
And I thought, that's my career path. I'll be a very successful musician and then sort of pop up in American TV shows.
Yeah.
So haven't done either of those things.
Yet.
Yet.
There's still time?
Yeah, still time.
How did all of that translate into games? What was your first gaming credit?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I think it might be Elite Dangerous or something.
Oh, very cool.
Or a Total War Warhammer, possibly. I kind of got into it through my voice agent. Yeah, they kind of got me in with Creative Assembly, who do Total War stuff. And I did a lot of door knocking myself. Yeah, my first experience in games was, just doing a lot of shouting and growling and utilising... I suppose I have a relatively deep voice and being able to use it, and that was what I was doing for a while, really. Playing lots of beasts and demons and things.
Obviously, Warhammer is been going since the 80s, and books, the tabletop game, etc., etc. How much information did you find yourself, or were you given to find the Beastmen voices?
I don't really remember now. I was familiar with some Warhammer stuff because, it had been around. I actually used to, years ago, I actually did have some of those little figurines, that I did actually paint, I think. And there was a games workshop near where I used to go to school, I think. So I was kind of familiar with that kind of stuff and the chaos species and all that sort of thing. I think they gave me some artwork and some lines and maybe some references. And I went in and did an in-person audition, which I think I did for most of my Warhammer stuff. Yeah, it kind of went with that, really. And it was a lot of shouting and growling, and then it was all pitched down, I think. So it was sort of unrecognisable. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't do that so much anymore, partly through choice. But I really enjoyed it. I thought, I'd like to do more of this.
So was that your first piece of pure voice work?
Well, I've been doing commercials for a while. So I was one of those people that people say, oh, you've got a really good voice, you should do voiceovers. So I always thought that maybe that would be a thing. And I put it off for a while. I think I might have done some little corporate voiceovers in my 20s, actually, before I was an actor. But I finally got my finger out of my bottom and got some voice reels done. And signed with a voice agent who I'm still with, and they would get me kind of commercial voice work, so doing voiceovers for TV and radio ads and stuff. But I did say, I quite fancy doing some video games, so could you get me into that? And so I'd already been familiar with it, but then they kind of got me some auditions.
Why was that? Just because of the variety of characters you could play, or did you sort of see that it was, constantly growing and there was more opportunity?
I think maybe a combination, yeah. Because this may surprise you, but when I'm doing on-camera things, I tend to get cast as a bald middle-aged man. So in video games, I recognised that there was a lot more scope for variety. I think at the time there was a thing called the Voiceover Network, which I don't think exists anymore, but it was kind of a community where they would organise these panels and events you could go to and learn about this sort of stuff. And I think it was Dave Fennoy, is that his name? Who does some Walking Dead stuff. I think I saw a panel with him, and I found that really interesting. And I met Dave Jones from Baldur's Gate 3 around that time, and we were both interested in getting into games. And I think it just seemed like a really fun thing to do for the variety of the characters you can play, and also, it's very immersive and, transcends the boundaries that you might get from film and TV.
So with that in mind then, what's the difference when you're preparing for a film or TV role to when you're preparing for a voice role in gaming?
I think it's no secret that when you're doing a video game, they don't really give you a lot of information. It's all very secret. This is a difference that we had with Expedition, because they gave us loads of information. Whereas if you're working on a TV show, they'll send you all the scripts, and at the audition stage, it still might be very NDA heavy. But you know a lot more about what you're doing. Whereas in gaming, it can be kind of drip fed to you session by session. So I think you have to make sort of more instinctive choices earlier on. Even with Expedition, my audition for Monoco, there wasn't a huge amount of information. It was just something like rich, deep, booming voice and a picture of him, and a little bit of backstory. So even then, it was like, I need to make some decisions here and trust my instincts. But that's the same with a self-tape. They might just give you a scene out of context, and you just got to kind of go with it, really.
So you said on your website that voice work often keeps you out of trouble. What kind of trouble?
Oh God, my website.
We do full research here.
I think, yeah, what I'm alluding to there is that, yeah, I mean, without voice work, I wouldn't have a career, really. I mean, I'm very lucky that I've done quite a lot of TV things over the years. But, yeah, voice work has been a significant amount of my income over the few years. So, yeah, it sort of stopped me having to have a day job, I suppose. Yeah, it's always really helped me out, you know, a commercial or... Because I also do audiobooks. So, yeah, I've been quite lucky, touch wood, that if I'm not doing any on-camera stuff, there's usually something else to kind of fill the gap, like an audiobook or an ad or a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm very grateful to voice work. And, yeah, I really enjoy it. And, I mean, if my TV stuff sort of dried up tomorrow, I would still be happy to be doing a load of voice acting stuff.
You've got a home studio, though, for all your voice recording, am I right?
I do, yeah.
So tell us about that. What kind of, what's the difference between working in a home studio as an actor versus going in, you know, to a studio that the devs might have or a studio might have?
Well, I find, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, in my home studio, it means I don't have to leave the house. Don't even have to put any trousers on if necessary. Sometimes if I've got trousers on, I might take them off.
Why not? Yeah,
depending on, you know, what I'm doing. You know, mainly for temperature regulation.
Sure.
I'm talking about. But there's a lot more anxiety at home, I find, because if I'm recording it myself, you know, I have to check that I've pressed record. Those sort of things. I quite like being in a studio where someone else is doing the clever thing, you know, like making sure it actually is recording. I've done a lot of professional TV ads and stuff, and I mean, COVID, that was what I was doing really, was doing TV ads from home. But we tend to go in now more again, and I do like going in because I live, you know, in London-ish, and it's easy for me to get in. And I like, someone else doing the recording, so I can just kind of relax without thinking, oh shit, is that just peering at the laptop? Yeah, I think that's still going. Or, you know, there's a motorbike going past outside, sort of thinking, oh, shit, I'll probably do that again.
Mm-hmm. How do you develop, like, a range of different characters, different voices? Especially because you said, like, you know, you would often get cast to do deep voices.
Well, I think when I was a kid, I did used to like doing voices. And I think this comes back to that sort of slightly chaotic TV we used to have back in the 80s and 90s. And I was very interested in animations. I was very interested in... Mel Blanc, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, the man of 1,000 voices.
Yeah, I was very interested in all the Looney Tunes stuff and the Flintstones and things. Yeah, I used to do a lot of voices as a kid, and maybe I thought that voice work would be something that I would do. So I was sort of, just training myself, I suppose, and trying to learn different accents and things like that. And I think I really lent into having a deep voice, really trying to open it up. Again, I just thought, maybe that could be my thing. And it sort of turned out to be my thing a little bit. I mean, I'm sure, getting Monoco in big part was just, they liked the sound of the voice, I suppose. And maybe my delivery based on my sort of comedy background. I don't know. Yeah, I think very early on when I got casting games as well, they would say, oh, can you do any other voices? And I would usually play a variety of other characters. So I think it's just always been in me, really. Again, rather than doing one thing particularly well, I like to do a load of things fairly averagely.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You've called it Expedition. Some people call it Clair Obscur. Is there what's your verdict on that? It has to be Expedition. That's all you refer to it as?
I don't know. I call it that. Some people call it Clair Obscur. Some people call it Expedition 33. I developed this thing that I now, whenever I say the full title, I always say Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, which amuses me if nobody else. And I have to do it now. I don't know. E33, sometimes I say.
Oh, I've never heard that one. That's a new one. Because that's too close to E3 for me. Which is still an open wound in my heart that there's dead.
Oh, okay.
I miss E3.
I don't know what E3 is.
E3 is a big gaming convention. It used to happen in LA every year. But COVID killed it, basically. Oh. Yeah, it's very sad.
Dope.
Yeah.
E4 is a TV channel.
E4 is a TV channel.
Does that still exist?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, COVID proof. Talking about E33, callback.
That's a really good way of describing it.
Yeah, thanks.
Saves a lot of time.
We have, of course, to talk about your role as everyone's favourite character, Trash Can Man.
Yes.
How did that come about?
He is genuinely one of my favourites.
Yeah,
actually, Trash
it's
Can
fabulous.
Man. Well, the sessions for Clair Obscur were a lot of fun, and I ended up. It was funny. I dug out my audition the other day, and I remember Jennifer English said in a interview that she kind of did it at 2 a.m. and just kind of rushed it out. And it looks like I rushed mine out as well, because I looked at the email and I've got 2 emails responding to my agent. One is going, sorry, I didn't have time to do it over the weekend. I'll try and bang it out now. And then the second email is like, oh, here you go. Sorry for the rush. And there it is. Yes, it was really fun, because I think early on, so the way we recorded Expedition was, I'm going to say different.
We're just mixing
time.
up. This is very, yeah, keep you on your toes.
The way we recorded E33 was we went in, I think they had a week at a time where Guillaume and Jen from Sandford would book outside studios for a week, and they get us all in and we do our sessions. And then there'd be another week, a few weeks later, and we kind of do it all. So for me, I would do a load of Monoco. And then I think, again, they were like, oh, could you maybe try some other characters? And I think I did some journals. I think they said, oh, can you do an accent or something? And I was like, well, I don't know, you tell me. And
like, no, we're right, there's a no.
So no then. You could have just said no. So I did some journals. And then, Trashcan Man just sort of came along, a bit like Francois or the Mask Keeper. It was like, oh, can you do this guy, Trashcan Man? And I was like, well, who's this guy? No, he's just a guy in a trash can. Okay. So just kind of, did that. Didn't know any context about where you'd find him or anything. He's just a bloke in a bin, Did try and get him to change his name to Bin Man, but they didn't do that.
No. Were you flying the flag for Britishness? Because
exactly?
What does one call a bin man in French? If you know in the chat.
Who cares?
Who cares? Thanks for watching the Ready Aim Fire podcast. If you're enjoying what we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, then don't forget to share the love with your friends and family. Your support means everything to us, and it means that we can keep bringing you the inside stories behind your favourite games. Thanks, guys. See you on the next episode. You voice 13 different characters in COE33.
CO:E33.
Yeah.
Well, I technically did voice 13 characters.
13 characters.
One of them was cut. I think he was like a prologue character. So in the prologue, I did the Trashcan Man, I did Nicholas the Painter, I did Maxime, who's just some drunk bloke, and a guy called Florian, who's got about 1, maybe 2 lines. He's just like a weird paintress worshipper. So I did all those guys in the prologue, on just different sessions. Oh, we got this guy now. Okay, do him. Yeah, do him. And, I didn't realise they were all going to be like so close to each other in the prologue. I saw one streamer playing the game, and they literally went from one character to the next. I was just like, well, they all sound the same to me, but nobody seemed to clock it, luckily. But they just asked me to do all these different characters. Francois, again, I think I'd done a few different voices at that session.
This is the angry, is he a turtle?
Yeah, he's a turtle. He's not a rock. He's clearly a turtle. Again, it was like I'd done a few different voices, and I thought, well, let's do a generic kind of northern accent. And I was just like, who is he again? Oh, he's just a grumpy turtle. Okay, just shout this thing out. And they liked it, so they kept it. So, I just ended up doing a load of different characters. And I think because we were working quite quickly, because obviously I'm amazing, we just had more time. They just said, well, try this one. So, and the other character that I did that isn't in the game is I did a voice for Golgra. Again, at that point, I'd done loads of Monoco, and, I still don't want to spoil it for anyone if they haven't played it, but, where you can go and fight Golgra at the Sacred River, and there was this scene that they thought it'd be really funny if, again, I was Golgra. I'm already Monoco, so Monoco is down there. I think I'd already done the Francois sort of Sheffield accent, so I kind of did Golgra like that. It was like kind of thought, oh, Monoco, what are you doing? Jump in the queue, you naughty gestrel.
Sounds like my dad.
Well, that's who I based it on. That's what I based it on. And that went down very well, and we all had a good laugh at that. But in the end, they re-recorded Golgra so that Monoco is the only English-speaking gestrel.
So Monoco doesn't have a face. How do you prepare the voice? How do you discover the voice of a character who has no face?
When I first got the image of Monoco, I remember looking at him thinking, what's going on here? I didn't really worry too much about it, because I guess this is where experience comes from, because I've voiced or either auditioned for a load of weird and wonderful looking characters, so nothing really surprises me. It became, when I booked the job, because the thing is, you do an audition, then you kind of forget about it, you just sort of send it out. I mean, as I've revealed, I barely gave any effort into doing the audition at all. Sorry for the rush, here it is. But yeah, when I booked the job, they came with a load more information. about who Monoco was, and I could kind of see him from different angles. And yeah, it was clear that, he had some sort of mask on. So I didn't really worry about it too much. I mean, the voice, I listened to my tape recently, and yeah, the voice is pretty much how I do it in the game. But I'll tell you what was great about Monoco's facelessness was that, as you may know, the mocap was all done before we did the voices. So we had to kind of sync it to what was already there in the cutscenes. So, everyone else would have had to do it to the mouth movements that were already there. Of course, Monoco not having a visible mouth meant that my job was a lot easier. So I could kind of tie in the lines as I wanted, really. So, I think faceless characters are a good thing, really. I think that's the way forward.
You've said that in previous interviews that you felt that it was a perfect role since it mixed your experience with sort of non-human characters and also your comedy background. Did that mean that you ever felt like a sense of, not desperation, but like you couldn't let this one get away? It was like a perfect role.
Yeah, it did seem like a good one. Yeah, I mean, because the thing, I know I joked about sort of not putting much effort into it, but I did. I really did. I just had to do it more quickly than I perhaps should have done. I remember the thing that hit me about the Monoco audition was the script. Mm-hmm. Because it did seem really funny, and what did hit me was that the script was quite funny, and it was the scene of where Moco gets recruited. So it was all the, oh yeah, that's true, there will be a lot of fighting, oh yeah, can't be in then. It was all that, and I remember thinking, yeah, this does seem quite funny, which is unusual, especially for a character like this. I've done sort of comedic games before, but not really marrying the two of having this kind of fantasy world and this non-human character and quite a funny script. So I did think, yeah, this would be a good one to do. But again, it just felt like, the point about my comedy background is that, when you're doing comedy these days on camera, the note is always like, don't overplay it, even less than that is what they say. Let the comedy comes from the situation, the characters believe what they're saying and they think it's deadly serious. So, yeah, I kind of, I approached it like that, really, just did it really serious and quite deadpan. And, just took a punt on it, really.
And he's the only English gestural, right? As you said earlier, all the others are.
Well, they all speak this kind of weird language,
right?
Called French. It's like a weird kind of amalgamation of nonsense and French and other things. I think a lot of the gesturals were voiced by people at Sandfall.
So with Monoco, then, did you feel at all that you were like sort of flying the national flag of keeping British comedy in a French game, sort of invading a French base, which we're very good at doing historically?
Yeah, maybe I did.
Some ancestral compulsion in there.
Yeah, perhaps I was. Yeah, some pride in there. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I did. Consciously do a lot of it very deadpan and throw away. A lot of my lines as Monoco were with Ben, and Ben had already recorded a lot of his lines, so
you got to listen to them,
sort of matching to him. Yeah, so do I have to participate? Please help me. A lot of that was kind of Ben had already recorded his stuff.
That's quite rare in games, isn't it?
I don't know actually, because you do tend to record on your own. And someone's got to have recorded their lines first. I think it was just lucky that Ben had been in there and done a lot of his before me. Because there were a lot of other sessions where Joe, the voice director, was reading in for me for somebody else. So I think it just depended on the scheduling, really. I think it was just lucky because Ben's delivery is very naturalistic and very truthful, and it's good when you've had a few people who've recorded already like that to kind of know, this is the tone. Because you don't want to overplay it. And I think that's why we've had a lot of plaudits. Is that how you pronounce that word?
I believe so. How else would you plaudits?
Plaudits.
If you're German, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, but
a lot of these words you see written down, you don't say out loud.
No. I think it's just about vibes, just whatever feels right.
Whatever feels right, yeah. I'm going to go, plaudits. We've had a lot of plaudits about the voice performance, and I think a lot of that is because everyone was on the same page and just doing it very naturalistically. And of course, the writing was so good as well.
Speaking of plaudits, or plaudits if you're German, the game is up for, at the time of recording, the game is up for how many awards at the Game Awards?
It's nominated in 12 categories.
12 categories.
At the Game Awards, yeah. And a few at the Golden Joysticks as well.
Amazing. So obviously, fingers crossed. At what point did you realise that this game was like a huge success?
Well, that's an interesting question because unusually for this game, as I said before, they sent us loads of information about the game. They sent us all these backstory documents, and they sent us a script and a load of artwork. And yeah, I think even my first session, they showed me loads of cutscenes, cinematics, which were pretty much as they are in the game. And it looked really cool. I remember chatting to some of the other actors about how cool it looked. And, my voice agent, at the time said, I think this looks like a good one for you. And she also said, let me guess, you're the one without a face. I was like, absolutely. It felt really good. And I was really quite sad when we finished. And Sandfall and Kepler took us out for dinner before and after, which was really nice and really unusual. But yeah, they kept us in the loop the whole time. And I remember at the post-wrap dinner, I was sat next to someone from Kepler, and he said, oh yeah, it's doing really well in the play tests. 1 million people will play this. It will be nominated for some awards. We're confident about X, Y, Z. That might have been when I found out that Andy Serkis was in it as well. I was like, oh, okay. So it felt like it was a good thing. And then what was very interesting in the marketing was when Kepler released all these trailers. There was a lot of drip feeding, wasn't there, in the marketing? They announced the game, then there was like a cast release thing, and then they had a Monoco and Esquire release thing, and then they had their own trailers for each character, including Monoco. And there was a point where I was sort of looking at all this stuff online and people getting very excited about the game. And, previously I'd seen a lot of negativity towards games I'd been in, like Lord of the Rings Gollum, which perhaps we'll talk about. And it seemed to be just gaining momentum. And I started to get a bit nervous. And, we had this press junket booked, which I'd never been at before. It was starting to get a bit out of control, I thought. So I messaged Ben Starr and I said, look, can we meet up for a coffee or something just to talk about this? And he was very nice to me, Ben, very supportive about things. But he did say he thought it might get Metacritic, I don't know, in the 80s or something. He said, I think it'll do well with people who like that turn-based thing. But, some people might be less enthused by, he said, just want to manage your expectations. I think it'll do well, but, at the time, we were like, it's not going to be a Baldur's Gate type thing. Yeah, and he said, I just want to manage your expectations. But, it turned out he managed my expectations the wrong way.
Right.
Because I also went into Kepler's office, and they were like, yeah, there's a few things that's a bit rough around the edges that will probably knock the score down. So, yeah, probably Metacritic 80-something. Of course, when the reviews dropped, like the day before release or something, I was just scrolling through and seeing 9s and 10s and Metacritic 93 or whatever it was at the time, and possibly still is. And it doesn't seem to have slowed down. So I think we were all genuinely shocked at how well it's done. We thought it would be good, but maybe not as good as this. I don't think we would have imagined 12 nominations.
No, it was a huge achievement.
Or even going to Paris to watch a concert of the soundtrack being performed.
Yeah.
Who could have envisaged that? It's just become this crazy thing. As we are, talking to you in November, I've met several Monoco cosplayers. I've seen tattoos. I've been given several Monoco models, 3D printed things, cuddly little felt things, and seas of people wearing the baguette outfit, the beret and all that. It's become a thing, which is wonderful, but also kind of surreal.
Speaking of fans, what's the strangest experience then that you've had from a, I've run out of ways to say it, Clair fan?
Expedition.
Nice.
I imagine that's how the French pronounce it.
Yeah.
I suppose, actually none of them have been, I suppose all of them are strange in the sense that it's just like, why are you interested in talking to me, of all people? There's really something indescribable about sitting behind a meet and greet table, glancing up and seeing a Monoco coming.
I imagine it's quite intimidating as well.
It is quite intimidating, yeah. Because even though I love the fact that the baguette outfit is a really accessible cosplay that anyone can do. You know, just get a red beret and a striped T-shirt. If someone's dressed as a Monoco, they've put some serious effort into that. Not just in making it, but then getting on the Elizabeth line and travelling to the Excel.
Without getting arrested.
With a bell and all this. I mean, one guy, I met 3 Monocos in London, all quite different. I mean, one guy had made like Monoco's longer arms out of like crutches. And another guy I'd met, I recognised him because he'd been tagging me into like work in progress videos on TikTok and Instagram for several months. And it really is something. You know, you're just staring at it. I mean, how do you see out of this thing? Yeah, I mean, that is a strange but also wonderful experience that someone has taken the time to do that.
Ready up for the boss fight. We're taking on mental ill health, and Safe in Our World needs your help. Within the world of games, we find connection, friendship, family. Within our favorite stories, we find purpose, inspiration, and a mission. And our mission as a mental health charity is to support the games industry and global gaming communities with vital signposting, training, and toolkits to level up your well-being at work and online. There's a hub of support at your fingertips. So whether you need a res or a mental health resource, visit safeinourworld.org and play safe.
From the sublime then to the slightly less than sublime, obviously you were the mouth of Sauron in Lord of the Rings Gollum. Which
why did you have to bring that up?
Sorry. Someone mentioned it earlier. It wasn't, I think it's fair to say it wasn't very well received by the gaming community. First of all, the question I have to ask you is, can you shed any light on the decisions behind giving Gollum the Edward IV haircut?
Well, I cannot.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
A mystery that will remain unsolved.
I mean, I think they were trying not to make them look like the films, which I think is fair enough. Because, I mean, the phrase, why does he look like that? I saw posted a lot about my character as well as Gollum.
Bruce Spence plays the mouth of Sauron in the films, and it's only in the extended edition, I believe.
Yeah.
That he's obviously just a mouth, like just a helmet and a mouth.
And it's very different, yeah.
Very different, yeah.
Whereas my version of the character, I mean, he's bald, which I think was a nice nod to his voice actor. But he's got like a load of teeth kind of in this weird sort of thing like this. I mean, I thought the character was cool. And actually, I'm really pleased with how he turned out. But it was just a bit of a shame how the game turned out. Now, I remember at the time, and this is my naivety at the time, people commenting on the trailer going, wow, this PS2 game looks really cool. And I was like, oh, people think the trailer looks cool. And then I remembered that my flatmate had a PS2, 25 years ago. Looking back on it now, I think they didn't tell us anything about the game. I mean, I should just say that I had a nice time working on the game. I really liked working with the developer, and I really enjoyed the performance because it was another kind of deep voice character. Excuse me. But unfortunately, it just didn't really work, did it, the game? Did you try and play it?
I haven't. I've watched people play it. I haven't tried to play it. It was, I would say, broken is how I would describe it. Very confusing choices made. I mean, especially as you're saying, the decision to not make it anything like I assume it's a rights issue, not making it look like the films. I don't know. But...
Perhaps, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they were very enthusiastic about it, and I do feel genuinely bad for them. I mean, I feel bad for joking about the whole thing because, people did lose their jobs over it. But it clearly wasn't ready to come out.
No, it
did get delayed a couple of times, I think, and then it came out. I suppose the good thing is that no one got as far as criticising any voice acting in it because nobody really got far enough in the game to experience any. But I do remember they thought it was a weird story. It wasn't very playable, and it just glitched all the time.
Yeah,
it was just almost impossible to play it.
Him getting thrown off cliffs all the time, no reason. Yeah,
stuck on walls and things. But it was a shame because I used to be in these, some people may already know this, but I used to be in these adverts for Top Cashback.
Okay.
About 10 years ago. And I recently posted about it actually because it was literally 10 years in October 2015. And I used to get a lot of people slagging me off online. I will say this so you can bleep it, but people would say things like the top cashback man, if he could fall in the river and get eaten by otters, that would be nice.
Very specific.
Very specific. If North Korea could just divert a tiny missile at the face of the hyper-irritating top cashback man, that would be lovely. And other ones like the top cashback man is a grade A.
Oh, wow.
So I sort of, there was all this stuff
That's
being
probably an Australian.
said about me.
Might be a term of endearment.
Possibly,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You might have misread that one.
I may have overreacted
Yeah.
in hindsight. But what I used to do is I used to kind of interact with them. So people would go, ugh, that Top Cashback ad. And I would quote tweet it and say, well, good news, Miriam, it's been renewed for another year. And things like that. And people would come up, people were very nice to me in the street. People would come up to me in the street and go, oh, you're the Top Cashback guy. And some people would say, oh, I love how you deal with all those trolls, you know, secretly dying inside thinking, I just wish people weren't horrible to me. But I kind of took that into the Gollum thing because when Gollum came out, on the day, I mean, in hindsight, this is a red flag, but on the day the reviews, the embargo was lifted. And I remember, whereas, of course, my jaw had dropped looking at Expedition going 9s and 10s. For Gollum, it was like 1s and 2s and the occasional 0.
Like, oh my God, 12. Oh no, 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think my voice agent, I WhatsApped my voice agent. I said, oh, I don't think the reviews are very good. And she was like, well, maybe you shouldn't say anything about it. And I just thought, what is the internet? Everyone knows everything that everyone has done. I might as well own it and lean into it. So I posted a very innocent tweet, very careful with my wording. I just posted because I did some facial capture for it. So I posted a photo of me with the dots on my face and all this. With like, had a great time voicing the mouth of Sauron in the Lord of the Rings Gollum game out today. Which is true. I did have a great time doing it. And then I just got a pile-on from people going, you liar. I was like, what am I lying about? I did the game. You know, I've got the contract. How much you get paid to say that? Well, I got paid to do the game. You know, I was interacting like I used to interact with the Top Cashback people, but it was a different level of stuff.
Yeah.
And
so you were treated much like the real mouth of Sauron was treated by Aragorn and Gandalf, one could say, which means you've gone true method.
Well, yeah, you know, trolled online.
Should have held a Mithril shirt up or something. That's what he does in the film.
Well, I mean, it's deleted, wasn't it, from the film?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to step back from it because people were then defending me in the tweet thread, whatever. And then people were accusing those people defending me of being me using different accounts. And I was just like, I just stepped away from it. And then I kind of left that where it was. And then, but even like a year later, I get a notification and someone's just
still raging.
Someone's gone, ha!
Yeah.
And I'm just like, where have you been, mate? Fucking year ago. Chill out. So yeah, that kind of, I stepped back a bit from social media at that point because I just thought, oh yeah, you know. And then what was interesting at the time is that my friend Dave Jones, who had Baldur's Gate 3 about to come out, you know, he got a feeling that was going to be good. And we were messaging going, he was like, oh, I got my big game coming out. And I was like, well, I've got my Lord of the Rings game coming out as well. So, you know, I think we're going to be doing all right. And then obviously it was a very different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful to to be in one of the worst games ever and in one of the best games ever in the space of about 2 years.
Is what's next? Star Wars, Jar Jar's Adventures?
I hope so, yeah. I hope to do something sort of, I hope to, recalibrate.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be successful all the time.
No, exactly. Sometimes it's character building. Yeah. To talk about something slightly off the topic of games, what was it like to be kicked in the groin by Emily Attack? And are you still on speaking terms? I told you we do our research.
Is the next question about Mr. Blobby?
It is. It genuinely is.
Yeah, Emily Atack is, I suppose she's a friend of mine, yeah. I mean, I've been working with her on Rivals as well recently. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, that shoot. That's from the Emily Atack show. I did the first series of that and the second series. Didn't get asked back for the third series. Message received. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, that sketch. That was done during COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With a very skeleton crew and, yeah, everything being sort of wiped down at every opportunity. I mean, feel free to seek out the Emily Atack show if you like, on possibly available on ITV2 player. But yeah, if you were to, there's a sketch where she plays a mum at a netball match, and I'm the umpire who she believes is incompetent and sort of kicks me in the balls. I won't spoil it for anyone who wants to see that sketch. But if you look at it closely, you'll see that there are two girls on the netball team who are just passing the ball to each other constantly because of COVID.
Right.
and then a ball gets thrown out, and then another ball gets brought in that's been sanitized. It was a very interesting shoot. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that.
You did correctly guess my next question. And first of all, I'm going to apologise to our American viewers who may or may not have heard of this famous British character, but he does pop up every now and again on the internet still, and terrifies anyone who isn't British. What was it like to meet one of my personal heroes, Mr. Blobby?
Well, I mean, mixed, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
Yeah, I mean, if you're of a certain age, he was on TV a lot in the early 90s.
Almost too much.
Almost too much. He was on Noel's house party. I mean, young people don't believe this, but he had a Christmas #1.
Yeah, I remember it. Blobby, Mr. Blobby. I remember how it goes.
Yeah.
That's rough. That was just a little snippet.
Pretty much the whole song there.
Yeah.
And he had a theme park as well.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I think there was several of them. I think they're now just in a state of disrepair.
Haunted.
The novelty has worn off. Yeah, they probably are. He was terrifying, and I think genuinely annoying to the guests of any show that he was on, because he would just like jump on them and...
Well, you get fully rugby tackled.
Yeah, well, that's why it was mixed, because I mean, it was fun, and it was really surreal doing a sketch of Mr. Blobby. It's not the same guy in the suit as it was in the 90s.
That's a shame. What do you mean?
Oh, sorry, it is a guy in a suit.
Oh,
sorry about that.
Sorry,
but yeah, at one point when we'd shot that VT, and I think I was walking up the stairs in the studio, he had his top off. And he was on the phone.
He saw Mr. Blobby unmasked.
Yeah, and it was a bloke who looked about 20. And he kind of smiled at me, and I kind of grimaced at him a bit, because, he did sort of like shove my head.
A day rate to rugby tackle you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, again, this is a sketch. I mean, this is on my website, isn't it, these clips? And yeah, he kind of jumps on me, which we did. I think I did have a crash mat and stuff, and then we kind of cut into a closer shot where I'm lying on the floor. But he did sort of unscripted, just kind of like, I kind of lean up and go, Blobby, and he just like shoves my head back into the floor, which did actually hurt a bit. Yeah, so I was a bit annoyed at him for that, but I think it was great television.
Yeah, it was indeed. Looking ahead, what kind of projects excite you? Is there anything you're allowed to talk about?
There's a couple of things that I've been in that have been announced, but I haven't been announced. I'm not allowed to talk about. Yeah, there's a few things coming up next year that I'm quite excited about. Yeah, it's. I mean, I've been very lucky since E33.
Keeping it fresh.
Because I've been working a lot more in games even before that came out, because when I was doing all these sessions, the team put my name around. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing a lot more at side. Well, including my Wuthering Waves stuff. That was, I actually got that after, when I was already doing 33.
We haven't had that one yet. Have we had that one yet?
We should have some sort of bingo, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should.
So even before the game came out, I'd been working a lot more. I mean, this is about games, isn't it? But I think Rivals, because I'm doing Rivals Series 2 at the moment as well, which I think that will be pretty good when that comes out. That's going to be pretty spicy. Mm-hmm. But in games, a few things I can't talk about. But I feel very lucky that I'm still kind of keeping busy in that area.
Is there anything else you would like to promote or talk about or explore?
I suppose, please feel free to validate my existence by following me on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rich Keeble.
Yeah.
On everything.
We can pop it up on there.
Great. The magic of television.
Exactly.
I suppose what I'd really like is for the fans to get behind me and demand that if this film comes to fruition, that I can do the voice of Monoco.
I think that's a must.
In that film.
I didn't know there was a film in the offing for...
It was announced even before the game came out.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know anything about it, but people are talking about, who should be cast in it. And I mean, realistically, none of us are going to be on camera doing that, because it'll be actual celebrities, apart from Andy Serkis. But I did think, if Monoco is a CGI character, why not? Let this guy do it.
That makes perfect sense. Well, we can start
in London.
We can start a campaign. We can start a petition, put it before Parliament. We can do it here. Get 100,000 signatures.
Yeah,
I think we should.
People should boycott the film unless I can voice Monoco.
Agreed. Well, you got full support from the Radio Fire podcast.
It might backfire because they might just cut Monoco from the film, I suppose.
Okay.
We'll
Think about it. We'll think about it.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know, something like that.
Okay. Rich, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to join us on the sofa. Guys, that's all we've got time for today. Hope you enjoyed, and see you on the next episode.